Hello everyone and welcome to the Bet It Right show in conjunction with BetItRight.com, a brand new website that brings the football data to your door. Each week we will update you on the key numbers and metrics that you can use to help you show off in front of your mates and allow you to bet better. Like and subscribe to this podcast and make sure you get involved with us at BetItRight.com. Dean Selvey, my sparring partner on the Bet It Right show, is alongside me. Dean, good to see you, mate. How are you? Champions League done and dusted. It was a bit of a boxing match in Madrid against City, but City managed to survive.
Yeah, our friend Simeone. We talked about him a lot on the show, and last night it was true pantomime villain stuff. Unbelievable scenes. But the best team, I think, over the two legs, City deserved to go through. I thought Atletico Madrid last night were actually very, very good, but just couldn't put the ball in the net. And as for Liverpool, 3-3, 6-4 in aggregate, heading through to the semi-finals. So a good night all round for the English teams.
Yeah, sure was. Who are favourites to win it, in your opinion?
I was thinking about this earlier. City, Madrid. I mean, if you think about the two legs, though, Madrid, Chelsea, I actually thought Chelsea really deserved to go through. They just weren't clinical enough. And especially in the second leg, going ahead and then having those chances at the end. Christian Pulisic with the worst substitution appearance in the history of football. And obviously Villarreal knocking out Bayern. And it's two really contrasting semi-finals. City, Madrid. I think City might just have too much. Madrid show that they can really be put on the ropes, I think, against Chelsea. And I think City will have too much. Liverpool, Villarreal. I think Villarreal's race might be run now, and I think Liverpool will progress. So it looks again like a City-Liverpool final like the FA Cup coming up this Saturday.
I'm not sure Palace fans will like you saying that.
Well, I actually work here in Spain with a Palace fan, and he's flying over to England for the semi-final. So, I don't actually want him to do very well. As much as I love him.
What about the performance from City in the semi-final? Because I thought I was surprised with how they set up, if I was honest with you, because they could have put the games a bit earlier. And is that, a lot's been made about Pep's tactics in Champions Leagues, and he said himself he overthinks it and he plays 12 players or whatever his line was. Do you think he does not bottle it in Champions Leagues, but do you think it plays on his mind too much? Do you think he overthinks it like he says he does sometimes?
I think so. And going to Atletico Madrid, me and you have been to that stadium. We know what it's like. And last night, going in, the first leg being 1-0, one goal different, one goal difference going in. It's always going to be tough. You know that Simeone's going to be in the players' ears, get on top of the referee. I thought the referee handled the game terribly. Could have put his stamp right on it from the Felipe challenge on Phil Foden in the first 10 minutes. Didn't book him. Felipe still gets sent off. VAR on the headbutt. Guardiola substituted Kevin De Bruyne fairly early. I think there's a little bit of a problem with an injury there. But in his build-up and everything, there's always something going on within the shape, and it's always quite complicated. And Madrid were actually really good in the second half, really aggressive. They deserved to score, just couldn't complete at the end. And City looked on the ropes, a little bit like Chelsea had Madrid on the ropes, and that class came through. Madrid had City on the ropes, and that class came through and just got them over the line. But I do think Madrid deserved to get something out of the game last night. I thought they, despite all the histrionics and everything else, I do think they actually played really well second half and deserved something from the game.
It's something we should keep an eye on, actually, and use BetItRight.com in order to keep an eye on it. But City, as Pep said in his post-match interview, Diaz is out with an injury. De Bruyne has picked up a knot. Walker's picked up a knot. Some key players are injured at a crucial time of the year. So have a look at BetItRight for the data with players coming in, coming out, etc. And that will give you a steer with some crucial matches coming up before the season is out. Okay, so that's a look at the Champions League. I'm sure as we get to the semi-finals on this programme, we will discuss at length the semi-finals when it comes round. It's not too far away now. But before all that, and before we turn our attention to this weekend fixtures, we're going to take you to the kit room.
We are indeed. It's our big giveaway. But before we do our big giveaway with a unnamed German shirt that I will reveal, I don't know why I haven't already revealed it because everyone's already guessed, but hey, it's all about the surprise. We're going to look at this week's shirt first. So without further ado, I reveal, and last week it was a very basic shirt, which you said you liked. This week is the complete opposite. Ready, set, go. And there we go. Look at this for a shirt, Ollie.
I like that a lot.
I mean, for the one last week that's over my shoulder just here to this week, a slight contrast, but what a cracker from our friends at Surprise Shirts. Absolutely love it. Another one where I can't have my dinner until later. The 1980s footballer, the Jan Molby, they'd be dying in this shirt, I tell you.
I like that one a lot. Give us a bit
nice, right?
What do they say in Surprise Shirts' box about this shirt?
So in our little box this week, this is an Argentinian professional football club. We've been around the world. We're into Argentina now. They're based in Greater Buenos Aires. They play in the top league in Argentina. And much like a few of the other shirts we've had, and I'm not sure what Surprise Shirts are trying to say about me, but they also got relegated in this shirt. They finished bottom of the league. So not a great shirt for them. 2021, it was their third shirt, but I think it's one of our favourites. I've got my other favourite on the wall just here from a couple of weeks ago, and obviously our giveaway shirt here, but another great one to wear for the rest of the show.
Yeah, you might be having to give that one away to me, actually, the one you're wearing. I like that a lot.
Well, we'll see what feedback we get. Maybe this one could be our next giveaway. I mean, it is a beauty.
If you know what that is, retweet the tweet that goes out, obviously, that you're watching. Like it, and then comment under the YouTube show with the team you think it is, and we will pick out the winner at random next week. But you owe us a result of last week's giveaway. What have you got?
I do. Without further ado, and the big drum rolls, and here it is. The correct answers were obviously, Ollie, what was it?
Werder Bremen, Dean.
It was indeed their relegation shirt. Again, the theme. So this is our shirt, and I have a random generator on my computer, which I'm going to press right now. Well done, and thank you to all of those people that entered.
Quite a lot.
I'm going to press the button. The magic wheel is going to spin, and it's going to give me a name. So let's have a little drum roll, please. And it's spinning. There's lots of nice spinning noises. And here we go, here we go, here we go. The winner is Mavuksa, is the winner. Twitter name Mavuksa. You have won this wonderful Werder Bremen shirt. And as Ollie said last week, it has been washed after it was on my body. It is brand new in the tags, courtesy of our brilliant friends at Surprise Shirts. And it's yours, and it'll be winging its way to the post. We will reach out on Twitter for all your details. Well done.
Top stuff. All right. Well, as I say, like, retweet, and comment in the YouTube show comments what you think this week's surprise shirts are going to be. Well done to Mavutska. The Werder Bremen shirt is on its way to you now. We are going to leave the kit room and we're going to head to the tactics room. Dean, what have you got for us this week?
Well, I was looking at all of the fixtures, and the one that jumped out at me this week from a tactical angle is the race for the top four. Not quite a race, obviously. It's not both teams racing, but Spurs, the form team, against Brighton, coming off of their win against Arsenal. Now, that race for the top four, Spurs, Arsenal, West Ham and Man United, but Spurs being the form team. Both teams have played each other twice recently, once in the FA Cup and once in the league, with Spurs winning both games 3-1 and 2-0. And before I talk about the tactics, I just wanted to have a little talk about the numbers that came out of that game in the FA Cup. XG was close to 4, 2.4 versus 1.5 in Spurs' favour. 26 shots, 12 on target between the two teams. It was a very open and expansive game for anyone that watched it. Brighton, 58% possession, and that favours Spurs for those games where they want to break. And I think the game is going to be more like that game than the 2-0 win for Spurs, given that Spurs are at home in this. Should see them play their regular 3-4-3. They're coming into this game now with some real momentum. 4 wins in a row since the 3-2 loss to Man United. Scored 4 against Villa, 5 against Newcastle, 4 against West Ham, 2 versus Brighton, and then 5 against Everton prior to that Man United defeat. So they really look like they've got some momentum. And even though Conte's been struggling with COVID, they'll be coming into this game feeling really confident. Son, Kane, Kulusevski, whoever's playing in that front three, really expansive with the overlapping fullbacks. Doherty out now with an injury, but they've still got Emerson Royale, Reguilon to fill those spots. Brighton play a 3-5-2 as well, but they're very open in their possession shape. They want to build, they want to be progressive, and I do think this is where Spurs can expose them. Potter likes to tweak the team. And he's played a 4-2-3-1 recently in the 2-0. He's played 3-4-1-2 against Norwich with Trossard in the attacking midfield role. And he played 3-5-2 against Arsenal with Trossard in a wing-back role. So first things first for Bet It Right users, have a look at the teams that Potter's played recently. Look at the value in the players when you remove players and add players in. And the effectiveness of Brighton will really depend on their personnel. Against Arsenal, they added Welbeck and Mwepu for some pace in the counter-attack to stretch the game. Potential for Lamptey to come back in here. Now, what that will do is that will make them a little bit more open and will make them more open in possession, can expose Spurs' spaces where the wing-backs are, but then that should make the game dual transitional in both directions. They will have some improved confidence coming in after the Arsenal win, but I do think that the market is kind of undervalued this game on the goals front because the line is 2.5. Now, looking at the previous game in the FA Cup and also Spurs recently, I do think that's way too short. So 2.5 goals, overs, that would be my bet here. I do think it's going to be an open and aggressive game. Spurs chasing the Champions League. Brighton basically with a free hit, 11th in the league and safe. Very open. 2.5 goals is my shout in our tactics room game.
Okay, they've been flying Spurs at the moment. A lot of FPL managers reaping the rewards of the Son-Kane partnership.
Yeah, goals. And it's not something that you think about with Conte, but I think he's realised that that's when they're at their best, when they can just be open and aggressive. And I think we'll see the same here, especially with Brighton's league position, allowing them not so much a free hit, but in 11th, 37 points. You think they survive given the rubbish Everton that's below them in the league.
Big win for you at the weekend, Everton. That was much needed.
Yeah, we could have talked about that, but I don't want to get too emotional on the show just yet. We've still got a few more games to go. Frank is not out of the doghouse yet, but he's definitely put his paws just on the ledge.
The tactics room, we're expecting goals for Spurs against Brighton. There's obviously a massive match this weekend in the Premier League. We're going to have a look at it now. It's Liverpool against United. Before we talk more specifically about this game, a broad question I want to ask you, because there are obviously have been European fixtures this week. So we've had Liverpool, City, Chelsea in the Champions League. There's the Europa Conference League. There's the Europa Conference League. There's the National Europa Conference League. And then there's Division 3 of the Europa Conference League. So I think Leicester are involved, West Ham, a few of them. From a betting point of view, looking at the weekend fixtures, how much should we factor in fatigue with regards to European players, or as in teams who've played in Europe? For example, Leicester are playing Newcastle, right? And they've got a double game week if you're an FPL follower, as I am. But they've also coming on the back of a European fixture midweek. So will they be fresh? Should you side with Newcastle? Do you see what I mean? How do you approach it from a analysis point of view, from a punting point of view? How much can you actually quantify what impact fatigue takes out of a team?
So we in-house here, we look at it on a number of different levels. Firstly, we look at the travel. So with the Europa League, there tends not to be too much, but home versus away. We tend to look at the size of the squad. As you mentioned before, Man City have now got a couple of injuries going into this game with Liverpool. And, they're going to play the FA Cup against Liverpool this Saturday, and then Liverpool have got to play Man United after that. And you've also got, Liverpool have now got potentially an injury with Jota as well. So what I would say is you can place your bet early, get a different price, but I would be waiting until game day. I'd have Bet It Right open. I'd be looking at which players are being moved out, which players are being moved in, potential tweaks in shape. Are certain players that come in, do they mean that the team are typically less aggressive or more defensive? Will that affect the goals output in either direction? And just spend a bit of time on Bet It Right, looking at the game summaries, looking at the individual player values. What XG do they bring to the game? Defensively, what XG do they save? If it's a goalkeeper or a member of the back four. And then just decide, okay, well, has the market got the price right? Because what the market tends to do is they know that that's there. They know there's a bit of fatigue, and it's sometimes in the price, it's sometimes not in the price. So it really just depends if someone has an hour in their day to sit down, get a pad and pen out, and just start doing some research, which is something that Bet It Right is there. It's free. All the data is there, as we always say, and it's just about how much time do people want to spend in trying to beat the bookies and make a bit of extra profit. So yeah, I'd say research.
What do you think of the game, Liverpool United, this week? How do you see it going?
Well, this is, you've got Liverpool playing the FA Cup against City. It's going to potentially be a final in the Champions League. It's them first and second, so you've got that little, that kind of background action. Then you've got United, Ten Hag, potentially now the manager, signed a little agreement maybe, and they play Norwich on Saturday, so they might be coming into this feeling confident. But one little thing I thought I'd look at first is, with Ten Hag being announced in the news as potentially signing his pre-contract, I thought I'd look at points per game with the managers. So, Ollie, a little question for you. Out of Ralph Rangnick, Mourinho, Van Gaal, Solskjaer and Moyes, could you rank them 1 to 5 in highest points per game to lowest points per game? So who do you think's got the best out of Rangnick, Mourinho, Van Gaal, Solskjaer and Moyes?
I would say Moyes.
The best or the worst?
The best.
No.
Is he the worst?
No, our friend Wreck-It Ralph is the worst.
It's either going to be, well, it's difficult because my instinct thinks that there's probably not much between all four.
So you've got Mourinho 1.97 points per game, Van Gaal 1.81, Solskjaer 1.79, Moyes in fourth 1.73, and then Rangnick 1.62.
The reason I said Moyes is because I remember reading a stat saying, like, do you remember when he got sacked and everyone said he was useless, and then like 4 managers happened afterwards, and then they compare the stats to, and Moyes is not really. I mean, obviously that stat says he is, but he's not miles worse or better than any of them before.
No, and now you've got Rangnick in there, who's just made everyone seem a lot better than everybody else. And with the Ten Hag news coming in, I think that everybody will just feel happy that it's done. They can start moving forward. And hopefully, this may bring them a little bit of momentum into this Liverpool game as kind of the start of a new chapter, potentially. But I looked at this game, and the reason I put it in our discussion is because last week we talked about Liverpool City. We said Liverpool on a plus 0.5 handicap, 2-2 draw. So that was a winning bet. And then I thought, well, let's look back to that United City game when they pumped them 4-1. And in that game, you've got City having 24 shots against 5, 10 on target against 2, 70 possession against 30, 754 passes against 331. So it's like, if you just take City out and put Liverpool in, could we expect Liverpool to dominate United in the same way? And I think the answer to that is probably yes.
I was speaking to a United fan up at Liverpool when I was at Aintree, and they said that the issue is just that it's terribly run. I mean, it's not rocket science, but this is indicative, their poor showing in the league, indicative of sort of a big hangover from the Ferguson years and just terrible management behind the scenes to get to where we are now. And the sort of dominoes have fallen, and now it's kind of cataclysmic, and they're not going to win the league in the next 3-4 years. So it needs to be a long-term project. If, say, a Ten Hag comes in, he's going to need 3, 4, 5 years in order to re-establish themselves as a European powerhouse, because frankly, they're not at the moment.
No. And the reason I wanted to discuss this game a little bit around Ten Hag, a little bit about the kind of fixture congestion, but also you've got Liverpool coming in with 1 defeat in 23 games in all competitions, and you've got United with 1 win in 7. And when we looked at the market, we think the price is completely wrong. You've got Liverpool with that pace on the counter-attack to expose United. They'll leave the fullbacks out. And as we talked about before, United are best when they have a team that come out. They can't play against the deep block. They will have some space against Liverpool. But when you look at the individual battles in the final third, I think Liverpool edge it massively. Diaz has settled in really well. Salah's a little bit off the ball, maybe gets a rest here. But the United announcement for the manager, will that settle the players? How will they try and expose Liverpool? Will Alanga play behind Trent Alexander-Arnold's spot? Will they look to break into that area with pace? But really, this comes straight down to the price. A little bit similar to last week. Liverpool at the moment, a minus 1.25 at 1.95, or you can get them as big as 2.22, minus 1.5. I looked at this and thought potentially handicap and goals, but Liverpool are in that title winning mode now. 2-0 would be perfect for Liverpool here. They wouldn't want to 1-0 and wait till the 89th minute to squeeze over the line. So I think Liverpool to win by more than 1 goal is a great bet here, similar to last week. So Liverpool minus 1.25 or minus 1.5, depending on how big a price you want to take and how big your stake is. So I see Liverpool winning here quite easily this weekend.
Okay, that's interesting what you said about resting Salah. I'm sure that will
Well, he just hasn't looked. He just hasn't looked in the flow recently. I've seen a lot of stuff online about FPL. You know, who's going to be first to take him out. You know, and then suddenly he scores a hat trick and everyone kind of pulls their hair out. You know, does a savage on Grealish, but you know, he just doesn't look like he's in that flow at the moment. And Diaz looks like he's playing well. The injury to Jota might change that. Bobby Firmino comes in, scores a couple in the 3-3 against Benfica. So, you know, they've got options, which is why they're such a dangerous team.
Yeah, they really do. Okay, that's a look at domestic fixtures. You're going to take us around Europe now. What are you looking at this weekend?
I am. A few lovely games this weekend. One involving a team from last night. So we're going to Portugal first. Sporting versus Benfica, second versus third. Sporting are 6 points behind Porto. They're coming in with 5 wins in a row and they have to get 3 points to stay with a chance of winning the league. There's 5 games left. 1 and 2 qualify for the Champions League, so they're in a good spot for that. Great attacking numbers at home. Their defending numbers are insane. They only give up 0.32 goals this season, which is madness. But the reason that I'm going for the bet, and I'll tell you what the bet is at the end, is because Benfica are so open. So since their new manager came in December, they like playing 4-4-2. They like playing Adel Taarabt as one of 2 in midfield, which anyone that knows anything about football knows that you're just asking for goals. And they like to get overrun and the game's end to end. Now, while Sporting might score early and try and hold, I think Benfica will be very open. This is a free run for them, really, to try and get it. They're 9 points behind Sporting, so they have to win. 14 out of their 16 games, including last night, are over 2.5. They're number 1 in the league for attacking metrics away from home with 2.11 goals. So I do think over 2.5 in any Benfica game now is good value, and you can get 1.9 on the market for that.
Okay, next up we are going to France.
We are, and a lot easier this week. I haven't had to learn any round this week. This is just a straight shootout, the big rivalry. This is, you know, Tyson Fury, Dillian White, the Dossers against the money people, PSG in first against Marseille in second, a massive rivalry. For anyone that has never watched this game before, just watch it. If you can ever go and see it live or watch it on TV even, it's just a brilliant game because the hatred between the two, a little bit similar to kind of last night, how the game was. This is essentially the number 1 attacking team in the league at home against the number 1 attacking team in the league away from home. PSG, they're 12 points clear with 7 games to go. Marseille fighting to get into the Champions League, 3 points ahead of Rennes in third. PSG, 14 wins and 1 draw at home, 0 defeats. Marseille, 10 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats away from home. And I think this is always a brilliant game, but I do think that Marseille are probably too big at +1.5. So Marseille to draw or lose or win by no more than 1 goal, and you win the bet. The bet is Marseille +1.5 in what should be an absolute cracker.
That's France ticked off the European passport. Now we're in Serie A, and guess which team Dean's talking about?
I didn't want to do it again, but I have to do it again.
What is this, 4th week in a row?
But this is about the price again. We're not going too deep into metrics here. I just think that the price is too good not to take it. And lo and behold, it's Cagliari against Sassuolo. Cagliari 17th against Sassuolo in 9th. Sass haven't lost this fixture since 2016. 7 out of the last 9 have been a draw, but they've got their best players back. Berardi's back from injury. Everyone's available. Cag have lost 5 in a row at home after being unbeaten in 5. So it's a complete roller coaster over there this season. And they've only picked up 12 points at home this season. Even though the stadium is always rocking, it's a great atmosphere. Sass have 1 defeat in 8 games, and they've scored 33 league goals away from home this season. Number 1 in the league with AC Milan, and you can get Sassuolo draw no bet close to 1.8. So yes, I talk about them every week. Yes, they're my new loves after Atalanta decided how not to play football, or just to forget how to play football forever. Sassuolo draw no bet 1.8 is my Serie A tip this week.
And what have you got for us in the Bundesliga?
In the Bundesliga, massive derby, Gladbach against Cologne. Now, Gladbach have been on an absolute downward spiral since 2019-20. Finished 4th. 2021 finished 8th. This season, they're currently in 11th. Manager left to go to Dortmund, and they're really on the slide, whereas Cologne have been going in the opposite direction. 14th in 2019-20. Last year, they beat Holstein Kiel in Bundesliga 2 relegation playoff to retain their status in the Bundesliga. And they're now on the rise. Anthony Modeste having one of the best seasons he's had in 5 or 6 years after being on loan last year at Saint Etienne. Gladbach, fourth worst defensive record in the league. And 9 out of 14 of their games at home have been over 2.5. Final stat, both teams, 10 out of 14 respective home and away, both teams to score. 3 ways to look at this. Shortest to biggest price. Both teams to score, I think, is a very good way to go, around 1.5, 1.6 if you want one to stick in maybe an ACCA. Over 2.75. Do think this will have goals in. And then finally, the longest price, but one I think, again, because of the form of the two teams, is a great shout, is Cologne plus a half on the handicap. My bet for the Bundesliga. Stick them in a little ACCA or better builder if you want. Do them as singles, but a few ways to look at that game.
Good stuff. Just a reminder that the BIR Insights page, BIR Prompts page are very good accounts on Twitter to follow. I'm sure you will do by now. But really informative. They give a host of information out regarding games, both pre-match, in play, and indeed post-match. And also, most importantly, all the data, and I know I'm repeating myself, but all the data that we talk about on this show is available for you for free at betterright.com. And Dean, I know that we've spoken about it a lot. We obviously use it, we follow it. It's a big part of, well, it's the main part of what Better Right do, but it's hugely valuable if you're any level of football fan, really, wanting to learn more about the game.
Yeah, absolutely. If you pay FPL, if you like a little bet at the weekend, if you want a big bet, go on the site. It's free. Have a look through the data. See if your gut feeling and your kind of biases lean towards with the data or maybe against it. See which players are available. Substitute players out and into starting 11s. Once those teams get announced an hour before kickoff, build your bets and then sit back and enjoy it. I mean, it's a great way to add a little bit of extra kind of fun to your weekend. Follow the Twitter pages. Check out to see if we're giving away any cracking shirts like this one. Again, well done to Mavuxa for winning our Werder Bremen shirt and our friends at Surprise Shirts. Oh, there we go. But yeah, another great weekend on the cards. Can't wait to see the Liverpool City game in the FA Cup and everything in all the other leagues. And best of luck tonight to Barcelona against Eintracht Frankfurt. I want to see them win the Europa League this season. Final question, not important. Did you put nails in the wall specifically to hang the shirts up? No. There's normally a couple of very picturesque, nice little pictures of Spain on the wall, and I've taken them down and replaced them with what life is really about. None of this beautiful landscape and boats. It's about football. I was going to say, is there a Mrs. Dean? No, there's no Mrs. Dean. No, if anyone's watching, Dean and you're outside hammering. What are you doing? I've just got to hang some football shirts up. Get out. No, there is no Mrs. Dean. But hey, if anyone's out there, free and single, interested in football, get in touch. DM. Are we ending this week's show with a dating plea for Dean Selvey? It's desperate times, Ollie. Desperate Remarkable. Times. Well, ladies, we'll post his number on the bottom of this cut down, which you'll see on Twitter at BIR Insights. Dean, thank you very much. Informative as always. Good to see you, mate. And you, mate. We'll hopefully find you a girlfriend, and we'll hopefully find our listeners and viewers plenty of winners on this week's Better Right. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.